Morning, Monday, December 13th, 2021, here in Sarasota, Florida. It's about 11:17 in the morning. I haven't recorded in 2 months. I've been extremely quiet publicly and privately. The reasons for that are many. Not even going to begin to try to get into even a couple of them. But I just wanted to get the momentum going again of sharing and connecting myself to the higher energies within me to guide me to use my discernment in what to address, how to address it, what specifics to share. I had an experience that began on August 1st that has rocked me to my core in a lot of ways. I kind of hold the opinion that even when something adversely affects us or affects us in ways that we want to label as negative, it's all positive. It all leads to growth and expansion and to learning if you're open to it. I've had a lifetime of learning lessons, and I feel like learning them the hard way. And I'm really, really trying to shift the momentum of that. We're never going to stop things happening that are undesirable. I don't think we'd want to stop that from happening. Because in my experience, as painful as it is, when things kind of smack you upside the head unexpectedly, rest assured, the greatest opportunities for growth lie right in front of you. That is the period, that is what I've been faced with now since about mid-August. So it has taken me every bit of 4 months to sort through the magnitude of things that were triggered for me within this experience and the magnitude of deep intuitions and feelings that were coming up, which are a little bit trickier to sort out. And in my experience, you just have to give it time, and you have to continue to be honest and real with yourself. This ultimately centers around me finally trying to give myself a voice, a complete voice. I have a very deep momentum built in this particular lifetime of holding back from expressing my side of an experience with an individual, with a job, with it, fill in the blank. I've had a lifetime of holding back in a way to protect others, and in many cases, they don't deserve that protection, whether it's protecting their reputation, whether it's because I'm not trying to hurt anybody else by sharing my experience. But what I have learned is that has come at a huge cost to me, a huge cost to me, because essentially I'm putting somebody else's well-being ahead of my own. And in this new world that we're shifting to, in the new paradigm of living, we're no good. I mean, it was this case in the old way too, but we're no good to the people in our life. We're not able to fully be the best version of ourselves if we're not first and foremost taking care of ourselves. That particular lesson continues to be one that I am learning. And as I jump back into the sharing here publicly, my primary goal is to once and for all give voice to my experience based on facts, things that were factual, and also, of course, based on the unique and individual ways they affected me in my story, and more, giving my own intuition and insight and read and analysis of the situation a chance to be heard. Because there is no doubt in my mind that what I'm experiencing and have experienced can be extrapolated out for others. I can't learn others' lessons. I'm not looking to learn others' lessons. But I think we're here to help make this experience more fun, more enjoyable, and to just, be there for one another. And in this case, me allowing myself to give myself a voice and finally not worry about how somebody else might think, what they project on what they think, why I'm doing it, or, basically I've been afraid most of this life to upset others. I've been a people pleaser. I've been afraid to upset others. I don't particularly enjoy pushing buttons or triggering people adversely. And like I said, that has come at a tremendous cost to myself. And I'm not going to be able to step into my best version of me until I finally learn this lesson. So, in an effort to have that breakthrough for myself, I will be sharing in the next few videos. I don't know how many videos it's going to take, but I will be sharing my experience, aspects of it, my interpretation, my analysis, and how I think it is extremely relevant to what is going on in the world at large. Because, folks, change is often uncomfortable and challenging. And if you haven't looked around lately, there's a lot of change taking place, and there's a hell of a lot more coming. And we need to put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants and recognize that we got to learn how to, with respect, honor one another, communicate with maturity, and stop hiding behind hierarchies and positions of power and influence. In my experiences, the people that hold positions of power and influence, no one within their game is going to call them out. And it's the little guys that have just continued to not have a voice. And listen, it's up to us individually to find our voice and to give ourselves that permission. This isn't about victimhood. Absolutely, positively not. I am about empowerment. But here's the thing. When you're a child that has not been given a voice in one way or another, and let's just say you've had one or multiple traumatic events take place as a child, and let's just say you tried to give yourself a voice as a child and you still weren't heard or received or respected, that sets a foundation. It sets a foundation. And some people never break that foundation and never find the power within them and never find their voice in the face of power structures or hierarchies or bullshit jerks that are just bullies and abusive and unkind at best, and at worst, consciously manipulating, using, and hijacking those that are weaker. And if, as kids, that's the one thing that the adults, it it's just a challenging thing to find your voice if you were shown otherwise or if you were silenced when you were young. And so when I speak in these next few days, few videos, however long it takes, I can't control how it's going to be received, but I can tell you that it will be both sides of me that is coming through. It will be the wounded child who was triggered in this experience because of the number of times I've not had a voice. It will come as the wounded woman, being somebody that has held back from speaking completely and honestly about what this life has been as now a 46-year-old woman in a 5 foot nothing body, trying to break through a masculine energy world. Again, I have held back. I've held back for the protection of others. And that stops. It stops with this incident. And, that means that I'm also then, through the sharing, working to consciously heal those wounds that keep cracking open. And so therefore, that means I'm also coming to the energy and with the sharing from my empowered divine feminine and my divine masculine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy swirling within us. And we also have earthbound, what I call earthbound, masculine and feminine. It's all four. So I am not, may some people look and listen and say, she's just playing the victim. She's just butthurt because of whatever, maybe. But I can't care anymore about what people think of me. And I've been saying those words and saying those words and saying those words. But again, lifetime people pleaser, lifetime harmony. Just keep everything harmonized. Don't rock the boat unless you have to. And first and foremost, again, this is for me. This is for me. The block that I have imposed on myself these past months, again, I can't keep hurting myself like this. Yes, aspects of my wounded child and my wounded woman were triggered. But I am not holding the onus. The onus is not on me to own all of this. No way. And I tried time and time and time again to communicate directly. That's another interesting thing that's happened since my awakening, because this has been every bit of 11 years of learning and taking one more step to try to do this. Actually, when I'm hurt, try to go to the person that is with whom I'm interacting, where I'm experiencing hurt feelings. And for once in my life, to really try to give myself a voice and speak up and tell this person or this person. Do you know how many times I've done that in the past 11 years and how hard it was each time? And do you know how many times the person responded? 0. 0. The relationship just ended. And a lot of those early examples were people I had known for a long time. And so they were established relationships with, hey, everybody loves Alyson when she's just in her power and feeding everybody's ego and because I'm not doing that to kids. Like, that's how I am. I love being positive and feeding, and I'm never going to attack somebody. And I don't think I often adversely affect people. I'm an extremely considerate, extremely compassionate, extremely big-hearted, kind soul. My whole life speaks to that. But it was pretty crazy that as I took my leap of faith after my spiritual awakening and finally went after the life of my dreams, there was no room for that version of Alyson in my life at that time. And I still continue to work to be that, to project that version out, and to receive the reflection of that back. So this is just me jumping back in. Sorry to be a little nebulous here, but it will become clearer in the upcoming videos. And I was gonna, let me see here, how much time, I don't know I can't tell how much time. I wanted to keep this short, but you know what? I'm gonna conclude with this. I'm gonna conclude with sharing something that I haven't really, one of the most damaging experiences in my young life, and it was right out of the gate into adulthood. And it is a wound that is definitely still there that I have to work continuously to release. And it was many that was triggered and reopened in the past few months. I was a college athlete, Division I. And for those that aren't American, Division I is like the highest level of collegiate athletics. And trust me, I had no expectation of that. None. I had no expectation for an academic or athletic scholarship. And I ended up getting full rides for both. A basketball, 4'11 3/4, I was not consciously seeking a scholarship and a full athletic scholarship to play basketball at an institution 1,200 miles away from my home in suburban Detroit, Michigan, fell into my lap. There's other aspects of the story I can share as well, but the important one is that was a horrible experience. And it was a horrible experience because that was my first experience of being treated like a commodity. Being my first experience of not being seen first as a human, but being seen as part of somebody's job. And I'm speaking of my coach, who was a female with heavily dominated masculine energy, guiding her and coming through her. She was not soft and feminine in any way. I was 18 years old when I first came down. And within a few months after we had lost 13 straight games, the emotional abuse and the verbal abuse that we were getting was real. And there were many adults that knew what was going on. Many adults that knew what was going on. In fact, an all-American freshman. She led the conference in 10 categories as a freshman. And I remember her when I came on my recruiting visit in November of my senior year in 1993. And then all of a sudden I come back to start school in August of 94. And this young woman is no longer a player. I would come to find out it was because of the abuse and because no adult was strong enough and courageous enough to give us, the women of that team, a voice. Now, technically, we were all adults. There may have been a few 17-year-olds, like freshman year. There may have been a couple that were 17 when their freshman year started, but we were adults, right? I can't overstate how damaging that experience was to me, because I did speak up and I did meet with the athletic director. And I was punished, and my teammates they didn't say it overtly, but it was the first time in my life as an adult making my own decisions that I tried to give voice for a situation that needed to be called out. I ended up having to give up my scholarship early into my sophomore year and quit the sport that I loved and left my team. It haunted me. I couldn't watch a female basketball game, I don't think, for almost a decade, really. I couldn't even go watch my old teammates play. It was extremely detrimental to me. Now, I knew pretty quickly that it happened for a greater reason, because 4 months after relinquishing my scholarship, my athletic scholarship, I was the recipient of a very prestigious academic scholarship in a group that changed my life and got it on a whole nother direction. So, I'm not about playing the victim. I am not a victim, and nothing in my life shows that. But deep down, I'm still holding back from all of these wounds. And that ends. It ends because I have work to do. I have a huge project ready to launch. I am not in this game for fame, for prestige, for fortune, for hierarchy, for power, for any of that. And I have 9 years of history on my YouTube channel of consistent speaking and doing the work and sharing the ideas. I know I'm deserving of a chance to put some of these into motion. And I will not attract and or create that opportunity for myself if I don't stand tall. And in this case, it means speaking to an experience that needs to be called out. So that's it for today. And the goal is to speak and do at least one short video every day for the next 28 days. And I'm hoping to work through and release this, speaking to this specific incident, and work through that within just a couple of videos. But I'm going to allow what is meant to come through. And as always, with the ultimate goal of speaking to myself and for myself first and foremost, and then trying to channel and allow the energy to come through and the words to be shared and the stories and details to be shared that can help the greatest number of people heal within their lives, and more importantly, to tap into their power and their voice. It's time. It's time. And that's all I intend to be and do. Have a good day.